This is Weekend Winners, another edition coming up for this Saturday night at Albion Park, a 10-race program, and we get underway at 5:42. Weekend Winners proudly brought to you by 1Equine for the equine athlete, and make sure you check out their full range of products by going online. In this edition of Weekend Winners, we're going to chat with Nathan Dawson and Brendan Barnes. Both guys have really good books of drives, and it's a really good program. The most intriguing race on the card, without doubt, is race number 3. This is the open pace over the mile. There's a lot of form here, a lot of in-form runners as well. That is going to be the highlight race for sure and certain. But let's hear what both Nathan and Brendan have got to say. Nathan Dawson jumps in the hot seat. He's got a busy night in front of him on Saturday night, so let's get to it. Nathan, appreciate the time.
Good to be on, Chris.
This first race, competitive lineup here, the Band 5 pace. Rocket City, the former West Aussie, he's been good since arriving here on the East Coast. Second line draw Saturday night. How do you rate his chances?
Yeah, he's racing good. Ever since he's come here, he's raced honest. I do think he's probably a bit better horse up on the front end, but in saying that, he still raced good last week off cover.
Okay, Major Hot, is he the horse to beat here? Is he the standout?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously last week he raced really good, probably beaten by a better horse on the night, but I think he's a clear one.
Okay, but Rocket City, as you said, may be better suited when he's up close to the speed, but he is still going well. Were you happy with last week?
Yeah, he's good. Sectionally he couldn't be any better. But as I said, if you give him a good draw in that type of race, he's probably the one to beat.
Okay, well, that's Rocket City race 1. I'm keen to get your thoughts here on Vinsanity in race number 2. I find this horse confusing. Is he better in front or chasing down a target? Which is his preferred style?
I'd chase him, put him on a helmet every day if I could. Obviously last week we were looking for the right horse to take a sit on, but it wasn't there early, so we ended up holding. But I definitely think he's a much better horse off a helmet. Okay,
do you find this guy a little frustrating? Because some of his performances, whether winning or in defeat, have been enormous. So is he a little frustrating?
Yeah, he is. He's probably the type of horse that when you think he wins, he doesn't, and when you don't think he can win, he'll pop up. So he's one of them horses, but getting past the line first isn't really his favourite thing.
Okay, this is a good quality lineup here. There's a bit of depth to this race, and you're drawn out in 6. So how does this shake out early this race?
Yeah, ideally if we could just slide across into a spot would be ideal. I don't want to be getting too far back. But I also don't want to be, having to chair up and be doing all the work.
Okay. But he's still capable of beating this opposition, though, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely. I think he's a nice horse. Obviously he's a bit of a thinker, and but if the right horse shows up, he's definitely capable of beating them.
All right. Well, that's Vinsanity in race 2. Let's move to race 3, the Open. Our Goat. He was stunning last week. Did he surprise you?
I knew he was a nice horse, but probably to come out and run those times, I wasn't expecting that. But he did that really good, and he's pulled up really well from it.
Okay, this is a good quality lineup here on Saturday night. You draw nicely in gate 2. What do you make of the front line and the early pressure?
Yeah, obviously it's a strong front line and a good quality field. I think it's a pretty even type of race, but I think I'll be coming out as hard as I can, and if I can find the front and run a good times again, he's going to take some beating. Okay, so
there's a chance that you could head off Ragazzo Di.
Yeah, he's a pretty quick horse, I thought last week I struggled to get over, but I left, pretty good and got over quite comfortable, so we'll be having a look, and we'll know after 50 metres anyway.
All right, if you are able to lead, he's going to take some beating.
Yeah, that's right, over the mile, and if he runs the same type of race as last week, he's going to take quite a bit of wheeling in.
Okay, so he didn't surprise you completely last week with the way he went about it. How much faster could he have gone?
I actually reckon, a race like that's probably going to bring him on. I always find the first one's probably the toughest for him, and then after that they kind of build into it. So I've got no doubt that on a warm night he could probably break the 150.
Okay. If he does come out and win and beat this opposition on Saturday night, they've got to start looking seriously as far as the Eureka is concerned.
Yeah, for sure. He's a versatile horse. He proved what he could do on the front end, and I think he's every bit as good off a helmet. So you know, I think he should be thrown about at least with his name in there.
Okay, you'd be happy to go down and drive him that night, I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure. You know, if he gets in there, I'll put my foot down and tell Byrne that I'm taking the steer.
All right, let's go across to race 5. You can have race 4 off. Race 5, this is the mare's qualifying pace, and this is a good lineup. Tickalock's been really good since finding her way to Brisbane. She was unlucky last time out, wasn't she? Probably should have won with any sort of luck going her way.
Yeah, for sure. You know, she's super unlucky last start. You know, she got to the line really good. You know, I think if there's another 100 metres, she probably, you know, beats them. But she's a really nice horse. You know, shame about the draw, but yeah, I think she's probably good enough to match it with them with a bit of luck.
Is Miss Idaho the obvious horse to beat here?
Yeah, I think so. You know, obviously Post Pain is going really well as well, but Miss Idaho's got the draw on all of us, so she's probably the one to beat.
Was it a difficult decision here to choose between Post Painter and Tickalock?
Yeah, it was. I think Post Pain is probably just going to be in for quite a tough trip. I think Miss Idaho is probably going to lead and run a strong mile, so you know, my mare, I can probably try and look to get a bit better run and hopefully finish off strong late.
You were also down for Moth Hunter in that race as well. You combined with that mare last week.
Yeah, I was, you know. But obviously, I've been driving for Sean for a while, and the mare's going well, so we opted with that way. All
right. Tickalock, she is versatile. She can obviously leave the gate. She's got good early speed. She's capable of coming off cover. Can she stick a bit in her races?
I reckon she can. You know, there's a few times there I've had to come back in the field, and you know, she's really strong through the line. So I think if she has to do that little bit of work, I don't think it'll worry her too much.
Okay. Race number 6, this is the Quali B. Womboyne in America. We saw him for the first time at Albion Park last week. A little inconclusive how to gauge him. This is a fair challenge here. Gate 7 at the mile.
Yeah, it's probably a tough ask. You know, I think first up he was okay without being great. But, you know, if I can get a nice trip there, I'm sure he's going to run an honest race.
I think he only arrived during the week last week, so he'll strip better for the experience. And this is probably a little easier than what he met last week as well. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. You know, obviously the draws are not real kind to us, but as I said, if we can get a little bit of luck at some stage, I think he'll run a nice race.
All right, race 7, this is the mare's Open. Everard, you stick with this mare. She was able to score. It was narrow when she was able to win first up here last time out. Now she's up against the open class mares. How do you sort of grade her in this field?
Well, last start, you know, there's plenty left in the tank, but I couldn't get her to move. You know, she just wanted to go with them, but when the horse to her inside comes, she was never going to let it pass. So done a few gear changes, and hopefully that does the trick. But obviously it's quite a step up in grade to the open mares, but I think she's up to them, but you know, as I said, I think next week's probably the more aim for her.
Just looking back at that replay of last start, wet night, Pumpkin Pat in front, hands over. If Pumpkin Pat parks you, do you still win?
I actually think it's probably better for her, to be honest. She's the type of mare that, you know, needs a bit of encouragement, and you know, when something's outside of her, she's a much better horse. So I think if she can, you know, see that horse and race it, you know, the time she's run, there's no doubt, you know, she's up to her.
Okay, so she's a tough mare. So this sort of race on Saturday night is going to bring her right on for the triad next week.
Yeah, for sure, you know. Obviously that's the main aim, and that's why I'm sticking with her this week. You know, hopefully we get through this week and she performs good and we can aim up for the triad.
Where do you want to be in running here? Does Riley Rainbow lead from 7?
There's quite a bit of gate speed, to be honest. You know, I think it's going to be quite strong first quarter, and then they'll work themselves out. But I'll just look to tuck in behind them somewhere and hopefully finish off strong.
Okay, race number 8. This is another race for the mares. You're driving Zara Lou here. She's a daughter of Sweet Lou. She's won 4 from 13. What can you tell us about this runner?
Yeah, I was looking at her form. Obviously, I don't know a lot about her, but she's run some good races in good times. You know, probably form on paper doesn't look that good, but I think back in this grade, you know, she'll be up there with them.
When you look at this field, you can tell us about the locals. There's no standout in this field. It looks very open.
Yeah, that's right. You know, it's an open race. You know, I probably wouldn't change her for any of them. So we can be positive early and find a good spot. I've got no doubt she'll run a good race.
Okay, you've got a great rapport with Jared Elgin. When he arrives in town, you normally combine for a win, so it won't be a shock here if you do it again on the weekend.
No, that's right. You know, obviously all the Elchins are very good to me when they come up, and hopefully we can repay them here with another win.
Okay, race 9, Frankie Ferocious, standing start conditions. Are you confident you can get him away?
Yeah, the couple stands he's had, he's got away good. You know, I think he's racing well at the moment. So if we can get away and get straight on a helmet, yeah, it looks probably a little bit easier than what he's been racing.
Okay. Do you think he'll ever return to that sort of form that he displayed where he won all those big ones down south?
I actually think he will. You know, I think it's more picking the races where you think you can go forward and find the front. At the moment, if he's getting stuck outside them and that, you know, he finds it a bit hard. But yeah, I reckon one day you'll find him running a really good mile.
Okay, so he can easily go sub 50, can't he?
Yeah, I reckon he can. As I said, it's a tough grade that he's in at the moment, and the draws he's had have probably been a little bit tough for us to find the front. So, you know, I think when his draw comes around, watch out for a big mile.
Okay. Of the Dixon horses in this race on Saturday night, which one do you fear the most?
I think Free Thinker from the stand, you know, he obviously gets away well, and, you know, I think he's quite a nice horse.
Yeah, it's quite a difficult race to assess that one, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I think it's quite open. And as I said, the standing start, you know, probably more in our favour if we can get away.
All right, the last race, race 10, Vindicate, Barrier 1, Adam Mile. Can she be a definite top 3 chance here?
Yeah, I think she can. She's racing well, probably better than what the form looks, but she comes up with a good draw, you know, so we have options from there, and, yeah, I don't think it'll be too far away from her.
Can Pumpkin Pack clear again here?
Yeah, she's pretty quick off the gate, you know, and I think if she does clear in a race like this, she probably most likely holds. So.
Okay, so definite top 3 chance.
Yeah, I think she should be.
All right, which one are you most looking forward to there on Saturday night?
Probably our goat. Obviously, he's got a good draw, but a tough trip. But if he can produce what he did last week, you know, I think he's right up to him.
Eureka!
Eureka bound.
That's it. That's it. Race 3, number 2. Hey, Nathan, as always a pleasure. Best of luck. We'll see you trackside.
Thanks, Chris.
Brendan Barnes is a very busy man at the moment. He's got a busy night on Saturday night as well. No surprise. There's a lot of drives. There's a lot of ground to cover, and he joins me now. Brendan, appreciate the time.
No worries, thank you.
Beach Ride, race 1, number 1. Were you a little disappointed by the performance last week with Beach Ride?
Yes and no. It was just a very, you know, peg-dominated race. It was hard for anything that was off the rail. By all reports, he felt good and he seemed to race good, but he's got a much better draw this week.
Okay, so that's a key point, that the draw is a lot kinder. So Barrier 1 here, major hot, likely to start favourite. On the pegs, it's worth gold on the Saturday night circuit.
Yeah, absolutely, and he showed there 2 starts ago that, you know, when he's on the fence and he gets a good run, what he can do.
Okay, so would you be disappointed if he didn't run top 4 here, given the likely setup?
Yeah, it looks that way, definitely.
Okay, well, that's Beach Ride in race number 1. Keen to get your thoughts here on Novanta Rising. Is this the first time you've sat behind this guy under race conditions?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. He trialled recently. You drove him in that trial. He looked really good.
Yeah, he was. You know, he's a funny sort of a horse. I think there was a lot more he had sort of in him if something had challenged him. He was a bit, you know, reluctant to go in front. He just did what he had to do, but, you know, he's a smart horse. He's just got a bit of a mind of his own.
Okay. This looks like it's going to be a really competitive race. You've got a handy one drawn to your inside. There's plenty of handy types to your outside. How do you think this race shakes out early?
Yeah, it looks like there's a little bit of speed and there is plenty of depth, but, you know, we'll be looking to get forward, and if we can find the fence, we'll be looking to keep that.
Okay, so has he trained on since that trial?
Yeah, he's well.
Okay, so from Barrier 2, you want to be fairly aggressive here, maintain that forward position. How far do you think he can go?
He'll definitely progress through his grades. I think, you know, his own manners might let him down a little bit, but he's versatile. If he settles, you know, I think he's got quite a big motor. It's just his own manners.
Okay, that's race 2, number 2, Novanta Rising. What about in race number 3? This guy was stunning last week, Royal Cruiser. Did any way, shape or form, did he surprise you last week? No,
not one bit, to be honest, as crazy as it sounds. He gave me an incredible feel when I drove him in the 4-year-old championship. First time I drove him behind the janitor, I think they got home in 2:26 quarters, and he was, you know, so strong through and after the line. And I said, leading into the mile the week before, that I was, you know, he was going to run a pretty big mile. And then when we went 25 out the gate, I backed him off a little bit, just, it was muddy, we went quick, and after the race I was just spewing that I backed off and gave him a breather because, again, after the line he was just so strong. So, heading into that race, I thought we were going to bowl along, and going past the mile, I had a good look around and seen Jim OT and Speak the Truth was still a long way back, so I thought, right, let's go. I know my fella's not going to stop.
I said in the call last week in the home straight, is this Leap to Fame or Royal Cruiser? And I don't say that lightly, because the sectionals that you ran, and you're fully aware of what's fast and what's slow at Albion Park, a 36.3 lead time, 27.7, 28.6, 28.1, and then home in 28. They're sort of times that Leap to Fame runs.
Yeah, definitely. He's a very good horse, no doubt the best horse I've sat behind, and I could honestly see him winning a big Group 1 race one day. I think he's that good.
Wow. Could it be the Eureka then? Because he sort of fits the criteria for the Eureka. Our Goat's also in that sort of mould as well, but could Royal Cruiser easily force his way into the Eureka?
Yeah, I don't see why he shouldn't be there. He's just so strong, and the distance that, he loves the distance, and he just, he can keep just running all day. He doesn't get tired.
Okay, so last week he was on the front end. Saturday night, only horse off the second row. How do you think that sort of shapes up?
It's quite a tricky one. I think, looking at it on face value, I think we'll just be staying on the pegs, but, it's going to be hard to see, how they come out. I think Ragazzo Ditilli, he'll want to hold the front. Our Goat, he flies the gate. He'll be looking to try and cross, and then Sure Thing Captain out wider, he'll go forward too. So, we're going to have to sum it up pretty quickly. If we're going to be, 3 fence, we might be able to look to get off and be just behind Sure Thing Captain, but in saying that, 3 fence might not be a bad spot either.
Okay, but you're confident that we'll see the same type of horse as what we saw last week when he led up?
Yeah, definitely. He seems to have taken no ill effect off that run. He's had a really good week. Obviously the draw's just we're not going to see him out in front bowling along like that, but yeah, there's no doubt he's a very, very good horse.
That's a massive rap you've put on this guy.
Yeah, I love him. I've driven him 3 times, and yeah, I've got a huge crush on him.
Okay, well, you've made that very obvious there. The time for this race, you won't be shocked if they go around the 50 mark. If we've got ideal weather conditions, it's not meant to be good. The forecast doesn't read all that well, but they could run fast time here. Yeah,
you'd think they would. You'd think they'd go 150, and yeah, it's sort of, well, our Goat went 150 last week, so they're gonna go not far off that. Ragazzo Ditilli, he can roll along as well, but yeah, they'll run.
Okay, that's a great race, race number 3. What about race 4, the Trot? Your mare Berries and Cherries, she won the marathon. I reckon her last couple of efforts have been really good. Are you happy or satisfied with the way she's performing?
Yeah, I'm right with her. She's flying. She just needs a good trip, She's had... I drove her a bit hard, 2 starts ago last week. She just sort of got stranded, got caught in the chair. But, if she gets a little bit of luck, she's busting to win a race. Okay.
Can you work out these sort of handicap conditions here? So Love Gun wins off 30 metres last week. He comes forward. He's off 10 metres. So he's on the same mark as you this week after giving you a start last week. Can you work that out?
Yeah, it probably is a little bit tricky when you look at it that way. But, yeah, it is what it is. We just got to hope there's a little bit of speed on Grant's 2 trotters there. They're flying at the minute, so they're going to be hard to beat. We probably need something to happen to beat them, but, it wouldn't surprise me if she wins the race very soon. Okay, so you're only a length and a half, 2 lengths off those horses last week at the line, and as you said, she was more than okay. I'm just confused with the handicaps there, but off-level marks, she can still beat these horses? Yeah, I don't see why she can't, She's more than capable in her own right. She just needs a little bit to go her way.
Okay, let's go across to race 6. You can sit out race 5. Bart Bentley, here's another one that's going more than okay. His past 2 runs in particular have been good. He rises in grey, but he's got a good draw. Do you give him some sort of hope here?
Yeah, I do. He probably just needs a little bit to go his way also. But, last time he was really good, just luckless, got held up a bit. But if he gets a good sit and they go hard, I can't see why he won't get over the top.
Yeah, last time out he was on the inside. If he's just one spot further, he's right in the mix there, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely. Just going, 2 horses into the sprint lane, he took a little bit to balance up and just got a little bit goofy gated as well. But yeah, he's going really good. Okay,
this is only a quali B, so when you look at them, there's no real standout, and quite a few of these have had a lot of chances lately. So with luck, he can feature.
Definitely.
All right, race 7, the Mare's Open, Jewel Melody. Past 2 runs, a lot better. She's working back into full fitness. Is that the way we read her on Saturday night?
Yeah, she's really in a good space at the minute. It's hard with the draw, the main dangers are on the front row, so we're... her ideal racing pattern, she's got to be on the speed, so we're going to have to either, go around him at some point, but it looks like there's a bit of tempo there, so that may not eventuate either.
Do you think she's just starting to adapt with the different style of racing, given that she's up in that really hard level now? Do you think she's just starting to come around and that change is starting to sink in with her?
Yeah, she just lacks that high speed, you know. That's sort of what stopped her from being a really good open class mare. She'll run 4:28 quarters all day long, and she's just so strong, but, you know, they always just get her for speed.
Okay, they're going to fly in this race. You mentioned that front line. There's a bit of speed there. There's a stack of speed there.
Yeah, definitely. We just got to hope, you know, that the last quarter's the slowest if we can't get into it. So, yeah, she'll keep coming. She's strong.
Okay. What about Platinum Jewel in race 8? Another mare that's going well. Last starter runner-up. She draws gate 2. Is this winnable, this race?
I think so. You know, she's a very high-quality mare, I think. I think, you know, she'll end up being a good open mare. So, you know, this will be a good stepping stone. We did have a little mishap with her. She had a bad foot abscess there. She was scratched from her last start. So I think she'll benefit from this run. But, yeah, she's a high-quality mare. Okay.
Again, there's a number of horses that have had a lot of opportunities of late. No standout. The unknown Zara Lou. Do you know anything about her?
I haven't really dove into it yet, no.
Okay. So Platinum Jewel, gate 2. She's going to be right in the mix.
Definitely.
All right, let's move on there. Race 9, this is the stand start. Barrett, you've picked up the drive here. Do you give him any sort of hope?
Well, stand start, you know, you can never ride any of them out. You just need a little bit of luck. But, you know, he's a consistent old horse. Wherever he lobs, he'll sort of finish, you'd say.
Okay, what about the last, Aurora Joy? Another mare that's going particularly well, needs luck, and the draw's no luxury, gate 7, so you're likely to go back here. But she is going well.
Yeah, she is. She's a stable favourite at our place. Everyone loves her. She goes out and she doesn't run a bad race, you know. She is what she is, and she's always running home.
So you're hoping for tempo here. Are you punching the gaps to the inside in the home straight, or just see how it plays out?
We'll just have to see how it plays out. But, yeah, normally, you know, the more luck she can get, the better.
Okay, so it's a busy night for you. Which one are you most... I think I know which one you're most looking forward to. Glowing wrap there. Am I right, Royal Cruiser?
He's the one I'm looking forward to the most. I think Platinum Jewel's probably the best chance, though.
Okay, so race 3, number 8, Royal Cruiser. Race 8, number 2, Platinum Jewel. Brendan, really appreciate the time. Best of luck on the weekend.
Beauty. Thank you.
As always, a big thanks to our 2 drivers this week, giving up their time and insights, Nathan Dawson, Brendan Barnes. Hopefully, there's a swag of winners for both guys there on Saturday night. Now, as far as a best bet is concerned, from my viewpoint, I'm really keen in race 5. First leg of the main quaddie, first leg of the double. No real surprise here, but this mare's been a revelation since finding her way to Queensland. Miss Idaho, 2 local starts, 2 victories, so she's unbeaten. She's had a freshen up since that last start performance, but she went back to the trials recently and she was super sharp in that trial. Rated fast time, super quick last quarter, comes up with a good draw here. I think the winning trend continues, marking her as the best bet. Miss Idaho, race 5, number 3, Pat Krogan and Pete McMullen. That's my best bet. If you are gambling this weekend, please do so responsibly. We'll see you trackside at the Creek, 10 races starting at 5:42.